I still remember the chill in the air that fateful midnight, a moment so surreal that it seemed to belong to another lifetime entirely. I was alone in my modest apartment, the glow of my computer screen the only light fighting off the darkness of the hour. The sound of rain tapping on the window panes had always been my companion on such nights, and yet that evening something was different. In the midst of routine rideshare notifications and mundane reminders, a cryptic alert popped up on my phone. The message was short, almost enigmatic, reading only, "Midnight awaits. Your ride is here. Meet me at the Marquise." I stared at the screen, a mix of curiosity and trepidation stirring within me. The Marquise was an upscale lounge and restaurant, a place I had admired from afar but never dared to enter under these circumstances. In that instant, every fiber of my being told me that this was not a random notification, but rather a secret invitation into a realm where the ordinary blurred with the extraordinary. The alert was unlike anything I had seen before. I had grown accustomed to the predictable efficiency of my rideshare app, the routine pickup and drop-off notifications that punctuated my days. But this one carried a certain weight, a sense of mystery that made my pulse quicken. I wondered if it had been a mistake, a glitch in the system perhaps, or a prank sent by an overly imaginative friend. Yet, as I scrolled through the app's message history, I found no such indication. The alert stood alone, a singular anomaly in the otherwise mechanical stream of daily communications. I hesitated, my mind swirling with the possibilities. Was this a setup? Could someone be inviting me into a clandestine world of midnight rendezvous? Or was it an elaborate marketing gimmick designed to lure curious souls into an exclusive experience? After several long minutes of internal debate, I decided to follow the lead. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what compelled me, the lure of the unknown, the desire to break free from the confines of my repetitive life, or perhaps a deep-seated need to feel something more profound than the monotony of my everyday existence. With a racing heart, I confirmed the ride request. I remember the moment my car pulled up outside my building, the headlights sliced through the darkness as if heralding the arrival of fate itself. I stepped out onto the rain-slicked pavement, my umbrella forgotten in the excitement of the unfolding mystery, and climbed into the back seat of the sleek, black car. As the vehicle merged into the quiet night traffic, I couldn't help but steal glances at the passing streetlights and rain-dappled windows, each moment seeming to elongate in anticipation. My thoughts swirled like the patterns on the car's dashboard display, each one a fragment of a puzzle that I was desperate to solve. The driver, a reserved man with kind eyes, made no attempt to ask questions. His silence added to the suspense, as though he were an accomplice in a secret too grand to be uttered aloud. I recalled the alert's terse words and wondered about their origin. Who could have sent such a message, and why? Every theory that crossed my mind was more fantastical than the last. A clandestine society, a secret admirer, a covert experiment in urban art and experience. Before I knew it, the car slowed to a stop in front of the Marquise, a striking building whose glass facade reflected the city lights like fragments of a shattered mirror. The entrance was guarded by a pair of tall, elegantly dressed doormen who scanned each arriving guest with an air of unspoken discernment. As I stepped out of the car, the cool night air wrapped around me like a promise of new beginnings, and I felt a thrill of anticipation that bordered on apprehension. The building itself exuded an aura of timeless elegance, its ornate details and artful lighting hinting at secrets and stories hidden within. A neon sign, subdued yet unmistakable, bore the name The Marquise, inviting me into its embrace. Inside, the ambience was intoxicatingly different from the sterile modernity I was used to. The lounge was a labyrinth of soft light, gentle music, and hushed conversations that echoed against marble floors and plush furnishings. It was as if I had stepped into a world where time moved slower, where every sound and every shadow carried the weight of significance. I approached the reception desk, where a courteous hostess greeted me with a knowing smile. "Welcome to the Marquise," she said softly, her eyes sparkling with the kind of secret understanding that left me both intrigued and vulnerable. "May I see your confirmation?" I hesitated, clutching my phone tightly as if the device itself were the key to unlocking this hidden realm. I scrolled back to the cryptic rideshare alert and showed it to her. Instead of confusion or skepticism, her smile deepened, and she nodded as though this were a familiar ritual. "Follow me," she said, leading me through a series of elegantly appointed corridors that opened into a grand dining hall. The space was awash in a warm glow, with flickering candles and the soft murmur of intimate conversations blending into a hypnotic symphony. I couldn't help but feel that I had been invited to witness something truly extraordinary. The hostess guided me to a secluded corner of the room where a plush velvet chaise awaited me. "Please, make yourself comfortable," she said as she disappeared into the crowd, leaving me alone with my thoughts and the enigma of the night. I sank into the soft cushions, my eyes darting around the room in search of clues. The guests here seemed to be carefully curated, a mix of sophisticated individuals whose eyes held secrets and smiles that hinted at unspoken stories. I overheard fragments of conversation, mentions of secret societies, hushed discussions about forbidden love, and cryptic references to adventures beyond the mundane. Each snippet of dialogue added another layer to the tapestry of mystery that enveloped the marquise. While I mulled over these whispers of intrigue, a waiter arrived at my table with a silver tray carrying a single, exquisitely arranged dish, a delicate appetizer that seemed to encapsulate the essence of the evening. As he placed the plate before me, our eyes met briefly. There was a silent exchange there, a moment that suggested he, too, was part of this clandestine dance of fate. The dish was a work of art, a small, intricately composed piece of edible beauty that combined flavors in a way that defied conventional culinary wisdom. As I savored the bite, each taste sparked vivid recollections of a past I had long tried to forget, of nights filled with whispered promises and secret rendezvous under a cloak of darkness. Between courses, I found myself engaged in conversation with a man seated at the adjacent table. His name was Alexander, a name that resonated with a timeless allure, and his presence was as enigmatic as the night itself. He spoke with a measured cadence, his voice low and resonant, weaving stories that painted pictures of exotic locales, forbidden love affairs, and daring escapades into the unknown. His eyes held a certain melancholy, as if every word he uttered was tinged with the bittersweet recognition of dreams deferred. As we spoke, I sensed that Alexander, too, was drawn into this intricate web of secrets, his life a series of hidden chapters waiting to be unveiled. Our conversation wandered from literature and art to the nature of destiny and chance encounters. Alexander confessed that he had come to the marquise seeking answers to questions that had haunted him for years, a search for meaning in a world that often seemed indifferent to passion and beauty. His words resonated deeply with me, stirring emotions I had long kept buried beneath layers of practicality and self-doubt. I found myself sharing my own story, the moments of quiet desperation, the yearning for something beyond the mundane, and the inexplicable pull toward a destiny that I could not yet comprehend. It was as though our lives had intersected by design, two souls adrift in a sea of possibility finding solace in each other's reflections. As the evening progressed, the energy in the lounge began to shift. The soft background music took on a more hypnotic quality, and the conversations grew more intimate, laden with a sense of urgency that defied the leisurely pace of formal dining. In a moment of bold impulse, I excused myself from Alexander's table, feeling an inner compulsion to explore the venue further. I wandered through the softly lit corridors and discovered hidden alcoves where couples shared quiet, fervent glances, and where solitary figures scribbled notes in leather-bound journals. Every corner of the marquise whispered secrets of past nights, of loves that had blossomed in defiance of convention, and of dreams pursued in the quiet moments between heartbeats. Eventually, I found myself drawn to a narrow staircase that led to a private mezzanine overlooking the main dining room. The space was intimate, with floor-to-ceiling windows that framed the cityscape like a moving painting, a panorama of glittering lights and shifting shadows that mirrored the inner tumult of my own thoughts. I settled into a secluded seat, feeling both hidden and exposed in that elevated sanctuary. The city below, alive with its own nocturnal mysteries, seemed to call to me, inviting me to ponder the infinite possibilities that lay just beyond reach. It was here, in the quiet solitude of the mezzanine, that I began to piece together the evening's disparate elements. The cryptic rideshare alert that had led me to this secret rendezvous, the elegant ambience of the marquise, the intriguing characters I had encountered, and the culinary artistry that transcended mere sustenance, all of these threads wove together into a tapestry of revelation. I felt as though I were at the nexus of a journey, a pivotal moment where the boundaries between the known and the unknown blurred, and where every choice carried the weight of destiny. In that reflective solitude, I recalled the moment I had first seen the alert on my phone, the unexpected clarity in its message that had set my heart racing. I wondered who had orchestrated this elaborate invitation. Was it the handiwork of a secret organization dedicated to those who dared to seek out the extraordinary, or was it the subtle maneuvering of fate itself, designed to nudge me toward a life I had long yearned for but never dared to live? The question spun in my mind, mingling with the soft hum of the city beyond the windows. Just then, a soft chime from my phone disrupted my thoughts. I glanced at the screen to find a new message, this one more personal in tone. It read simply, "I'm waiting in the lounge." There was no signature, no further explanation, only the promise of another encounter. My pulse quickened as I realized that the message was an invitation to step further into the labyrinth of this night's mystery. It was as if the universe had laid out a series of clues, each one drawing me deeper into a narrative that was both enchanting and fraught with the possibility of revelation and heartache. I hesitated for only a moment before gathering my resolve. I left the quiet haven of the mezzanine and made my way back down into the main lounge, my eyes scanning the room for a sign of the person who had sent the message. There, near a set of elegantly draped curtains, I saw a figure leaning casually against a polished bar. The person was dressed in an impeccably tailored suit, and though their face was partly obscured by the ambient shadows, I felt an immediate connection, a magnetic pull that resonated with the unspoken promise of the night. Our eyes met, and in that charged moment, time seemed to slow. The stranger offered a subtle nod, as if to confirm that the message had been received and understood. "I'm glad you came," the stranger said softly, their voice low and rich with emotion. There was an air of vulnerability in the tone, a shared understanding that we were both seeking something profound, something that lay just beyond the surface of our everyday lives. We exchanged few words, yet the conversation between us flowed with a silent eloquence that transcended language. In that moment, I recognized that this midnight rendezvous was not merely an escape from routine, it was a portal into a realm where every fleeting moment held the promise of transformation. As the night wore on, the atmosphere at the Marquise deepened into an intoxicating blend of elegance, mystery, and raw emotion. My mysterious companion, whose name I learned was Vincent, shared fragments of his own story, a tale of heartbreak and hope, of love lost and rediscovered in the most unexpected of places. His eyes, reflecting the dim candlelight, carried the weight of secrets and the resilience of a spirit that had weathered countless storms. Vincent explained that he, too, had been drawn to this hidden world by the lure of possibility, a desire to break free from the constraints of a predictable existence and to embrace the beauty of vulnerability. We spent the next few hours wandering through the intimate spaces of the lounge, discussing everything from our favorite works of art to the quiet moments that had shaped our lives. With each passing conversation, I felt a growing sense of liberation, a realization that the night was a canvas upon which we could paint our deepest hopes and fears without judgment. The connection between us was unspoken yet undeniable, a shared heartbeat in the midst of a chaotic world. At one point, Vincent took my hand and led me toward a secluded corner of the lounge where a small table was set for two. There, amid the soft strains of a live pianist playing a melancholic tune, we sat down to share a meal that was as much a communion of souls as it was a culinary delight. Each dish that arrived was a revelation, a carefully orchestrated blend of flavors and textures that seemed to mirror the complexities of our own emotions. We savored every bite, our conversation punctuated by long, meaningful silences that spoke volumes about the unspoken bonds forming between us. As the clock edged closer to the early hours of the morning, I found myself reflecting on the surreal events of the night. The cryptic rideshare alert that had sparked my journey, the hidden messages that had guided me into a world of elegance and mystery, and the intimate connection forged with a stranger who was as enigmatic as the night itself. All of these experiences coalesced into a powerful moment of self-discovery. I realized that this midnight rendezvous was more than an escape, it was a reawakening of parts of me that I had long neglected. I had dared to step into the unknown, to allow myself to be vulnerable, and in doing so, I had discovered a reservoir of strength and beauty within. By the time I finally bid Vincent farewell at the doorstep of the Marquise, the first hints of dawn were beginning to break over the city. I stepped out into the cool, pre-dawn air with a sense of bittersweet exhilaration, a mixture of joy for what had transpired and a quiet longing for the mysteries that still lay ahead. The experience had been transformative, a secret chapter in my life that I knew would reverberate through my days long after the memory faded. In the silent moments that followed, as I made my way back to my apartment under the fading stars, I replayed every detail in my mind, the allure of the cryptic alert, the elegance of the lounge, the whispered promises shared with Vincent, and the overwhelming sense of possibility that had awakened within me. I felt an unshakable certainty that my life had been irrevocably changed, that I had glimpsed a world where passion and mystery intertwined in a delicate dance, beckoning me to explore further. That night, as I lay in bed with the soft hum of the city in the background, I vowed to honor the experience. I resolved to seek out the beauty hidden in everyday moments, to embrace the unexpected, and to remain open to the transformative power of chance encounters. The cryptic rideshare alert had been my invitation, a key that unlocked a door to an extraordinary realm, and I knew that I would carry its lessons with me as I continued to navigate the intricate tapestry of my life. In the days that followed, I often found myself drawn to the memory of that midnight rendezvous. The enigmatic allure of the Marquise, the taste of exquisite dishes, the shared glances with Vincent, and the echoes of whispered conversations became a quiet mantra in my heart, a reminder that life was filled with secret moments waiting to be discovered. Each time my phone buzzed with a mundane alert, I would pause and wonder if, perhaps, the universe was sending me another sign, another chance to step beyond the predictable and into the realm of infinite possibility. Even as I resumed the rhythms of my daily routine, the spirit of that transformative night lingered within me. I carried it like a hidden treasure, a reminder that beneath the surface of ordinary existence lay a vibrant world of passion, mystery, and unexpected connections. And so, with each passing day, I continued to search for the subtle cues that might lead me to my next clandestine adventure, a next midnight rendezvous that would once again challenge me to embrace the beauty of the unknown. Thus, as I close this chapter of my journey tonight, I feel both gratitude and anticipation for what lies ahead. The cryptic rideshare alert was not merely a fleeting anomaly, but a profound invitation, a call to step into a realm where every moment holds the promise of transformation, every secret glance carries the weight of a hidden story, and every midnight encounter is a testament to the beauty of living boldly and authentically. And while the future remains shrouded in mystery, I know that I have taken the first step into a new world, one where the ordinary is forever changed by the extraordinary, and where the journey has only just begun. The night after my encounter with Vincent, I lay awake long after the city had quieted, replaying every subtle nuance of our meeting as though it were a cherished secret. The soft hum of the metropolis outside my window had dwindled into a gentle murmur, leaving me alone with the myriad thoughts that cascaded through my mind. I recalled the fleeting look in Vincent's eyes, a delicate balance of sorrow and hope, and wondered what forces had brought him to that upscale lounge on that fateful midnight. As the hours passed and the first hints of dawn began to seep through the curtains, I realized that the encounter was not an isolated anomaly but the first verse of a long, unfolding ballad, a narrative in which every whispered word and every shadowed glance held the promise of discovery and change. In the days that followed, I found myself in a state of quiet reverie, haunted by the resonance of that night. Every time I passed a busy street or heard the distant sound of a rideshare notification, I felt a thrill, a stirring of anticipation that hinted at the hidden layers of life waiting to be unveiled. I began to immerse myself in an introspective journey, journaling my thoughts and cataloging memories of encounters that, until then, had seemed fleeting. I noticed that even the most mundane details, a barista's warm smile or the gentle rustle of leaves in the park, took on a profound significance, as if they were subtle hints in a riddle that the universe had devised just for me. Determined to understand the forces that had orchestrated that midnight rendezvous, I started revisiting my own life's intersections, the moments when chance encounters had altered my course in unexpected ways. It was in these recollections that I began to see patterns, a series of seemingly random events that, upon closer reflection, formed a tapestry of meaning. I recalled a time when a missed train led me to a conversation with a stranger who later became a lifelong friend, and another moment when a delayed phone call revealed long-forgotten secrets of my family history. Perhaps, I mused, that cryptic alert was part of a larger symphony of fate, a gentle reminder that the universe was always whispering its secrets to those willing to listen. One crisp morning, as I sipped my coffee in a small cafe tucked away from the main thoroughfare, I received an unexpected message on my phone. The screen illuminated with an unfamiliar name, Vincent, and in his message, he wrote simply, "Let's talk. There's much we must share." My heart fluttered with both excitement and apprehension. I had spent the previous nights oscillating between the desire to reach out and the fear of unearthing truths that might disrupt the delicate equilibrium I was trying to rebuild. With a deep, steadying breath, I responded with a hesitant yes, and we arranged to meet at a quiet bistro known for its discreet ambience and soulful conversations. The bistro was a quaint little space, its walls adorned with vintage photographs and softly lit by the glow of antique chandeliers. I arrived early, feeling a mixture of anticipation and nervous energy. I chose a secluded table near a window, where the muted sounds of conversation and clinking glasses provided a comforting backdrop. As I waited, I couldn't help but reflect on the fragility of our connection, a bond forged in a single night yet imbued with the promise of future revelations. When Vincent finally appeared, his presence was both comforting and enigmatic. He greeted me with a gentle nod, and for a moment, our eyes met in a silence that spoke volumes. Over cups of richly brewed coffee, Vincent began to share fragments of his story, memories of a past laden with both beauty and regret, of choices made in haste and moments of profound clarity. He told me of a time when he had once been an artist, his canvases alive with colors that captured the raw spectrum of human emotion. Yet, life had a way of eroding even the brightest dreams, and circumstances had forced him to abandon his creative passions in favor of a more conventional existence. His words carried the weight of someone who had experienced both the heights of joy and the depths of despair. In the quiet cadence of his voice, I sensed a vulnerability that resonated deeply with my own unspoken truths. As our conversation deepened, the bistro's ambient chatter faded into the background, leaving only the earnest exchange between two souls searching for meaning. Vincent revealed that his presence at the Marquise that night was no accident. It was a deliberate quest for connection, a yearning to break free from the constraints of a life dictated by routine and resignation. He admitted that he, too, had felt the pull of the unknown for years, watching from the sidelines as life passed by in a series of predictable scenes. That cryptic rideshare alert had been his quiet rebellion, a signal to himself that the time had come to reclaim the parts of his spirit that had long been dormant. Listening to Vincent, I felt a stirring of empathy and recognition. In his words, I heard echoes of my own desires, the longing to shatter the boundaries of familiarity and to embrace a life filled with passionate spontaneity. Our conversation meandered from dreams of artistic freedom to the practicalities of survival in a world that often seemed indifferent to beauty. We spoke of the intricate dance between fate and free will, of the moments when a single decision could alter the course of one's life. Vincent's insights were profound yet unassuming, as though he had spent years learning to navigate the delicate balance between hope and heartbreak. As the morning gave way to a gentle afternoon, we parted ways with a promise to meet again soon. The encounter left me with a profound sense of clarity, a recognition that the night of our first meeting at the Marquise was merely the prologue to a larger narrative that was still unfolding. Over the next few weeks, I found myself drawn into a deeper exploration of that mysterious world. I began to frequent places that once had seemed merely incidental, a quiet rooftop bar, a hidden art gallery tucked away in an old building, a secluded park where moonlight danced on dew-laden grass. In each of these settings, I looked for signs, subtle cues that might hint at the deeper currents of possibility that Vincent and I had touched upon. One evening, while strolling along a quiet boulevard, I received a message from an unknown number. The text was brief and almost poetic in its brevity: "Meet me where the city sleeps and dreams are born." There was no signature, no further explanation, only an invitation wrapped in mystery. My heart pounded as I considered the possibilities. The phrase evoked images of a hidden courtyard or an abandoned building transformed into a sanctuary for those who dared to dream. Trusting my instinct, I replied affirmatively, and we arranged to meet at a location that turned out to be an inconspicuous entrance to an old theater district. The venue was unlike any place I had experienced before. Tucked away from the bustling main streets, it was a relic of a bygone era, a once grand theater now repurposed into a haven for artists, poets, and seekers of truth. The air was thick with the scent of aged wood and the lingering echoes of applause from performances long past. As I stepped inside, I was greeted by a hushed murmur of voices and the gentle strum of a guitar in the distance. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of anticipation, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath in expectation of something extraordinary. I soon discovered that this hidden enclave was a meeting point for individuals who had, like Vincent and me, been touched by the call of the unknown. Over the course of that evening, I encountered an array of characters: a wistful painter whose canvases spoke of lost love, a retired musician whose fingers still danced over imaginary keys, and a young writer with eyes brimming with unspoken stories. Each person carried with them a fragment of a collective dream, a desire to break free from the confines of routine and to embrace the raw, unfiltered beauty of life. In this small community, I found a sense of belonging that I had never experienced before. The anonymity of our encounters was replaced by a shared openness, a willingness to reveal our deepest hopes and vulnerabilities without fear of judgment. As the night unfolded, I found myself drawn into a spontaneous performance that took place on a makeshift stage in the center of the room. A soft-spoken poet recited verses that spoke of love and loss, of fleeting moments that glimmered like fireflies in the dark. His words, imbued with both melancholy and a quiet resilience, stirred something deep within me. In that moment, I realized that our journey, the cryptic alert, the midnight rendezvous at the Marquise, my conversations with Vincent, and now this gathering of kindred souls, was a testament to the transformative power of human connection. It was as if the universe had conspired to orchestrate a series of encounters that would lead me to a deeper understanding of myself and of the infinite possibilities that lay beyond the boundaries of the ordinary. The performance concluded with a round of applause that resonated through the intimate space, and as the crowd dispersed into small clusters of animated conversation, I found myself standing at the threshold of a profound decision. I had been offered a glimpse into a world where every moment was imbued with potential, where the interplay of fate and free will was celebrated rather than feared. Yet, I also knew that venturing further down this path would require me to confront aspects of myself that I had long kept hidden: insecurities, past regrets, and the perpetual fear of vulnerability. The memory of that midnight rideshare alert, with its promise of mystery and transformation, now served as both a beacon and a challenge, to embrace the unknown fully, even if it meant exposing the tender parts of my soul. In the weeks that followed, Vincent and I grew closer, our paths intertwining as we navigated the labyrinth of our shared experiences. We began meeting regularly in places that felt both familiar and otherworldly, a secluded cafe with ivy-clad walls, an art exhibit where time seemed to stand still, and even on quiet walks along the riverbank where the water shimmered with the reflection of city lights. In these moments, our conversations became more intimate, delving into subjects that ranged from our earliest dreams to the poignant realizations we had come to cherish. Vincent confided in me about a lost love, a woman whose laughter had once illuminated his days but whose absence had left an indelible ache in his heart. I, in turn, shared the story of my own struggles, of a life once dictated by routine and duty, and of the slow, painful process of awakening to the realization that there was more to existence than the safe confines of predictability. One chilly evening, as autumn's first winds began to rustle the golden leaves along the pavement, Vincent invited me to accompany him to a gathering at an abandoned warehouse that had been transformed into a temporary gallery and performance space. The invitation, delivered with the same air of understated mystery as our previous encounters, promised an experience that blurred the lines between art and life. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, I agreed. When we arrived, the space was bathed in a warm, amber glow from strategically placed lamps that lent an almost ethereal quality to the surroundings. The walls were adorned with provocative murals and experimental installations, each piece a raw expression of emotion and creativity. Inside that warehouse, the air buzzed with the vibrant energy of artistic rebellion. I witnessed a spontaneous dance performance where bodies moved in fluid, unchoreographed rhythms, expressing a freedom that was both exhilarating and liberating. Musicians played a haunting melody that seemed to capture the essence of both despair and hope, and poets recited verses that challenged the very fabric of societal expectations. In that cauldron of raw human expression, I felt an overwhelming sense of unity, a recognition that we were all, in our own ways, searching for a deeper connection to the world around us. During a quiet interlude between performances, Vincent and I found a secluded nook away from the pulsating energy of the crowd. There, amid the soft murmur of distant voices and the faint glow of candlelight, we spoke in hushed tones about the nature of authenticity. Vincent admitted that for years he had hidden behind carefully constructed facades, terrified that exposing his true self would lead to rejection or heartbreak. I confessed that I, too, had built walls around my heart, a series of defenses honed by years of routine and the fear of stepping into the unpredictable realm of emotion. In that intimate moment, our vulnerability created a bridge between us, a shared understanding that the beauty of life lay not in perfection, but in the messy, unpredictable dance of truth and imperfection. As the night waned and the warehouse slowly emptied of its impassioned occupants, I found myself reflecting on the many layers of my journey. That single cryptic alert had opened a door to experiences that were as transformative as they were unexpected. It had led me to cross paths with Vincent, a kindred spirit who had rekindled a long-dormant spark within me, and had introduced me to a community of seekers who celebrated life in its rawest form. I realized that every encounter, every whispered secret in a dimly lit room, was a thread in a grand tapestry of meaning, a tapestry that was still being woven with each passing moment. The following morning, as I navigated my way through the familiar bustle of the city with a heart still brimming with the echoes of the night before, I sensed that my life was irrevocably altered. I carried with me a renewed sense of purpose, a commitment to remain open to the magic of the unknown, to cherish the unexpected beauty that lay hidden in the ordinary, and to honor the connections that gave life its profound meaning. In the quiet solitude of my apartment, I began to draft plans for future journeys, both external and internal, that would allow me to explore the delicate interplay between destiny and free will. I started to seek out other gatherings, to immerse myself in artistic expressions that challenged conventional norms, and to reconnect with parts of my soul that had been relegated to the shadows of routine. In the weeks that followed, Vincent and I continued to nurture our connection, our relationship evolving into something that felt both tender and transformative. We began to share our dreams more openly, visions of a life lived with reckless abandon, where every moment was savored for its raw, unfiltered emotion. We planned impromptu trips to coastal towns at dawn, where the crashing waves and windswept cliffs spoke to the infinite possibilities of reinvention. Together, we explored art exhibits and hidden cafes, each experience deepening our understanding of not only each other but also of the fragile, wondrous nature of human existence. There were moments, however, when the intensity of our newfound freedom gave way to quiet introspection. Late at night, as I sat by my window watching the city's silhouette fade into the early light, I wondered about the future, about the precarious balance between the exhilarating highs of passion and the inevitable vulnerabilities that came with exposing one's true self. I grappled with the realization that while the journey into the unknown was filled with beauty and possibility, it was also fraught with the risk of heartache and disappointment. Yet, even in those moments of uncertainty, I found solace in the knowledge that every step I took was a testament to my courage, a declaration that I was no longer content to live in the safe, predictable margins of existence. One particularly profound evening, as the sky was painted with the deep hues of twilight and the city's heartbeat slowed to a gentle rhythm, Vincent and I returned to the Marquise, the very place where our paths had first intertwined. This time, our visit was not shrouded in mystery or guided by cryptic alerts. It was a conscious choice, a pilgrimage to a sanctuary that had catalyzed our transformation. As we entered the lounge, the familiar elegance of the space wrapped around us like a warm embrace. We took our usual seats, this time with the comfort of shared memories and the promise of new beginnings. Over an intimate dinner, we revisited the stories of our past encounters, the quiet revelations, the stolen moments of tenderness, and the unspoken promises that had bound us together. In the soft glow of candlelight, our conversation deepened into a dialogue about the future, about the kind of lives we hoped to build once we had fully embraced the unpredictable beauty of the present. We spoke of art and love, of dreams yet unfulfilled, and of the necessity of vulnerability as the true foundation of connection. Vincent's eyes shone with conviction as he declared that every experience, joyful or painful, was a brushstroke in the masterpiece of our lives, each one essential to the overall picture of who we were becoming. As the night drew to a close, we stepped out into the cool embrace of the early hours, our hands intertwined and our hearts aligned in the silent promise of mutual discovery. The city, still shrouded in the delicate mists of dawn, seemed to whisper secrets of endless possibility, and in that moment, I felt an overwhelming gratitude for every twist of fate that had led me here. I knew that the cryptic rideshare alert was more than a mere message on my phone. It was a catalyst for profound change, a spark that had ignited a journey of self-realization and heartfelt connection. Now, as I pen these thoughts in the quiet of another early morning, I remain deeply aware that the path I have chosen is both uncertain and exhilarating. The experiences of the past weeks have taught me that life's most transformative moments often arise when we dare to leave behind the familiar, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and embrace the raw, unfiltered truth of our existence. Vincent and I continue to navigate our individual and shared dreams, our journey unfolding one breathtaking moment at a time, a journey that is as unpredictable as it is beautiful. In this ongoing narrative, every encounter carries the promise of revelation, every whispered secret becomes a stepping stone toward a richer, more authentic life. I remain ever watchful for the next cryptic message, the next hidden invitation that might once again propel me into the uncharted territories of passion and self-discovery. For I have come to understand that true transformation lies not in the safety of routine but in the willingness to surrender to the unknown, to trust that the universe, in its infinite wisdom, is always guiding us toward a destiny that is as magnificent as it is mysterious. And so, with an open heart and a spirit unburdened by the constraints of the past, I step forward into each new day, eager to explore the myriad wonders that await. Every midnight, every whispered conversation, every secret rendezvous is a reminder that life is a grand tapestry of intertwined stories, each thread vibrant with possibility, each moment a chance to embrace the extraordinary. In the gentle quiet of the dawn and the lingering glow of twilight, I continue my journey, forever changed by the night when a cryptic rideshare alert unlocked the door to a world of elegance, mystery, and the boundless beauty of human connection. Thus, as I close this chapter of my unfolding story, I feel a deep and abiding hope, a certainty that the journey is far from over, that every new encounter is an invitation to explore the endless depths of passion and possibility. I hold fast to the memories of that transformative night and the promise of every secret rendezvous yet to come, knowing that with each step into the unknown, I am ever more fully embracing the wondrous, unpredictable dance of life.